New Year's resolutions. We all have them, and then all of a sudden we just mysteriously don't. They just go into some ether, never to be seen again. I like to think that they are all on some happy little island of regret that just kind of all gets shipped back to us on December 31st the next year. And then it's okay, I'm going to try this thing again, I'm going to work out again. And then poof, they're gone, never to be seen again, year after year after year after year, and it never seems to go our way. What if there was a way to figure out how to stick with these resolutions? What if there was a way to keep ourselves on track so that we can actually work on improving ourselves in the future? I haven't figured it out yet, and so that's why I'm making this video, seeing if we can figure out a way to do this together. Welcome to The Flip Side. My name is Connor Philippi, and again, this is a variety channel focused on a variety of different topics, today being New Year's resolutions. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think they don't work, and why I feel like mine haven't worked in the past, and then I'm going to go over my own personal resolutions for you, and you'll find that a lot of them tie into this channel, which is a big reason why I'm making this video. But of course, before we do all of that, we have to go to our Totally Real review box, where we are going to be looking at some of the amazing reviews from some of the esteemed watchers and listeners of this channel. And of course, this is the first time we're doing this, so I'm very excited. Our very first review, and gosh, I'm just shaking from excitement here. I know it's just the channel trailer so far, but this show has what it takes to make it to the top. I just bet my life savings on the channel reaching 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you so much for that submission from Issa Farce. Okay, thank you so much, Issa, for that submission. And hey, look, I'm gonna get serious here. We need your help. This person needs your help. This is a serious situation. Issa has just bet their life savings, everything down the drain, because she believes in this channel. If you have it in your heart to just click that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, tell your friends, this is a person's livelihood we're talking about. All the money that they already won on blackjack could be completely out the window. So please, if you listen, please, if you have it in your heart, please subscribe. Not for me. I mean, go ahead if you want to, but for Issa. The world depends on it, frankly. Anyway, we're going to be going into these New Year's resolutions, but we'll start off with the fundamental question of why do people feel the need to make New Year's resolutions specifically? We could potentially make these decisions all year round to try and better ourselves. We could say, you know, starting January 1st, I'm going to start going to the gym, or you could say, hey, it's the middle of the week, Wednesday in June. Why is it that we wait for this very specific New Year's resolution thing? Why do we wait for this very specific cutoff and start time to work on these things? I am just as much at fault with not following through on New Year's resolutions in the past as anyone else. I'm probably honestly the worst at it. I came to kind of two main reasons why I feel like my New Year's resolutions haven't worked, and they kind of go together in this Venn diagram where, first of all, I feel like the main thing is just in general the quantification of success. I think that it's very good to set these milestones and to set these goals, you know, especially if you're a person like me that likes checking off boxes. I think the problem lies with when we don't complete these things. It just feels like when we're looking at a number that we didn't reach, it just is a complete failure, and kind of getting ourselves down on those kinds of things is what leads us to not wanting to get the motivation to do it next week. But it unravels in that way where we feel like because we didn't do something one week, that it just kind of is a loss in general, and that we can't pick ourselves back up. We're trying to pitch a perfect game, and then as soon as we let up that walk, we just kind of let the floodgates go and let ourselves unravel back to the point we were before. And I say we again because I'm talking about myself, but hopefully there's people out there that feel that same way, that might be a problem for them as well. And then my second point's kind of similar to that in terms of that all or nothing perspective, but just in a general sense, when we're talking about things we want to stop doing, or things that we're trying to limit in terms of our intake of it and stuff like that, we kind of decide to just cut it cold turkey. We decide to just not do that thing at all after having a bad habit of doing it way too much. And again, it's kind of that same thing of, we feel like if we do that thing at all or fail to cut it cold turkey, that again opens the floodgate to just going right back to the quantity we used to do that thing. So for example, like for me, I'm trying to drink as little, pop, or if you're not from the Midwest, soda, or I could go on a whole rant about how stupid calling all pops Coke is. It's kind of a thing where in the past I've said, okay, starting January 1st, I'm not doing that once the entire year. I'm not drinking a single Mountain Dew all year long. And I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't understand the brain. I also don't understand any science stuff at all. But I can't help but feel like that's just an impossible tactic. It helps every once in a while for people, and there's a lot of accountability that comes with that. But I think for the most part, it can be very damaging and honestly counterproductive to force yourself to not do something at all when you've been doing it a lot. You aren't addicted to caffeine the same way that nicotine would addict you, but it still is addictive. And there's a lot of things that we don't like using the word addiction for, that it's very much the case. It's an addiction that's potentially easier to kick if you really try at it, but there's a lot of things like that where it's probably a bad idea to try and just go with this all or nothing approach of I'm never doing this, when that's just not the way human beings work. And that's one reason why I feel like I just have never been successful with my New Year's resolutions. With these resolutions I'm about to talk about, I have goals, but I've already told myself if I don't hit those goals, I'm not going to get demoralized and just fall off of all of it. I'm going to get back on the horse and keep trying. And so that's what I encourage everyone else that's watching this video to do as well. It's a goal you're set for yourself. A goal shouldn't be something that if you fail it, that's it. Because that's when you truly fail. Just like anything else, if you can't do something and then you give up, that's when you fail, not when you didn't do it the first time. So if you just keep fighting for it, then eventually I think we're all going to better ourselves here in 2026. Make sure you stay to the end of the video, because I'm going to be kind of hinting at my next 2 or 3 videos I'm going to be making, kind of highlighting some of the video series that I'm going to be putting out that are based off of specific themes. One thing I'm going to be doing throughout the course of these videos is I'm going to be sneaking in kind of a either well-known song lyric or set of lyrics, and whoever can comment first, noticing those song lyrics or recognizing it, will get a shout out in the next video if anyone does get it. So some of these resolutions are going to be more serious ones that are actually like working to better myself. Some of these are just kind of fun things that I have been trying to do that I'm just gonna kind of put in there as part of a get to know me kind of thing as well. Also, if you have any New Year's resolutions that you want to drop in the comments that you want other people to keep tabs on and keep you accountable for in the comment section, it would be fun to kind of keep some threads going throughout the course of the year. Here we go with the first one. And this is kind of a very generic one that kind of is an overarching one in general, but I want to start and maintain more of my ideas and goals. And that's kind of one of the big things for this channel. I wanted to make something that I would hold myself accountable for, have the people in my life hold me accountable for it, making these videos consistently and uploading them because I do care about them. I've kind of a bad habit of not staying consistent with things, and it's easy to feel like, oh, you must not care about them if you're not being consistent with them, but that's not really the case, because one thing that you'll find out about me over the course of this time getting to know me making these videos is I have some pretty bad, I don't know if it's ADD or ADHD, I don't know what the official terms for it are anymore, but I have a lot of problems with getting the motivation to do things outright. As soon as I start them, I'm just absolutely in on them, and I get started on making something and I don't look up until it's done. And so all that it takes is for me to just start getting the ideas for the videos, shooting the videos, and then editing them. Those are all kind of separate chunks of a video. As long as I just get the process started with each of those, then I'm home free. And so that's kind of just the accountability of making sure people are on my back about doing them, because once I'm in the process of doing these things, I absolutely love them. And making videos, editing videos is just my passion in life. And even with that being my greatest passion, my ADHD sometimes will get the best of me, and I will convince myself that it's either too late to do them or I don't have the motivation today to do them. And it's very similar to when someone tells you to go to the gym and you don't want to, and then once the workout's over, you just have this adrenaline rush and you feel great. it's just the same thing with pretty much everything I do. And so recognizing that part of myself and understanding what I need to do to make these things happen was a huge factor in helping my career, helping my productivity as a person in general, and just kind of making sure that I am not falling behind in the things that I really care about doing. And so that is one of the things that I want to do with this channel, is making sure there are weekly uploads no matter what. Because once a video is out there, I am so proud of myself that I did it and really happy I worked on it. But also the process of it is really fun, again, as long as I actually start it and don't just have it as an idea in my mind. Because over the years, there's been so many ideas in here that just have never made it out here because I was either too afraid to do them, feeling too vulnerable to do them, or just convinced myself that I didn't have the energy or motivation to do them. And that's left me with a lot of regret about things that I feel like could have been really good that I just never made. Okay, the first one that's kind of a little more of a fun, silly one is I am hoping to do one of two things in 2026, which is off to a bad start because I have not gotten to the lanes even once so far in 2026, and we're halfway through the first month. But I am hoping to bowl over a 250 game or get myself over a 650 series over 3 games in bowling in 2026. So one thing that you don't know about me if you're just meeting me is that I was actually a competitive bowler in high school. And I know what you're thinking, Connor, that is the coolest thing that I could ever imagine. Not varsity basketball, not varsity football, not being a star hockey athlete in the state of Minnesota. Get me on those lanes and make me a varsity bowler. Anyway, I've always loved bowling. I really like the concentration of it. I like the fact that it's just you and yourself sport where you're just focused on what you can do, what you can get better at. I have a really fun time bowling. I got really rusty at it because I didn't get back at it hardly at all after graduating high school. And so my goal is just to kind of get back to doing some of these things that I enjoy doing and just kind of work to get better at them. So the next one here is another one that's a little more important for my life and a little more vulnerable, is to just kind of put myself into situations that force me to be uncomfortable, and on top of that, to listen more and be more open to things that aren't necessarily in my wheelhouse. That's kind of a combined way of saying I want to not stay in the box that I'm in, you know? The next one here that's a little more of a important one, more of a vulnerable one for my own life, is I want to put myself more into situations that force me to be uncomfortable, and also on top of that, listen more in general, be more open to things that aren't in my own personal wheelhouse. I'm kind of getting into a point where I'm trying to be a little more social. I'm trying to be a little more extroverted, and ever since high school, my wife can attest to it, I've definitely have been at least a little bit more extroverted, a little more social since then. I was just totally in my own box, didn't want to talk to anyone back then, but now I'm a little more social, you know, getting out there and making stuff like this and doing play-by-play for games, making me more comfortable talking on camera and stuff like that. That's all kind of made this easier for me, but I still have a long way to go in terms of being more open socially in general. I've always been pretty bad introvert. Part of that is me kind of waiting too much for other people to talk. That's always going to be a little bit the case with me as an introvert. You know, you should never really change who you are to such a degree where you are forcing yourself to be an extrovert when you're not. But I do want to put myself in more situations where I am more comfortable leading the charge, where I am more comfortable asking other people questions, so that even if you are an extrovert, I'm sure it is nice to hear other people ask you questions and be interested in you, and that other people want you to tell them how you're doing and what you've been up to. So those are the things I don't always consider. I'm always just like, oh yeah, they're an extrovert. They like to go and ask me the questions. They want to have the conversations with me. It's important for me to understand that and to actually listen more in that situation. That's why I want to start kind of my more long form series of videos on this channel, where it's going to be basically podcast style. I'll be asking people about things they're interested in, asking about things that I might not fully understand, and on top of that, just have conversations where people get to talk about what they're passionate about and just kind of have that platform for it. But the first video that I'm going to be coming out with is actually I'm going to bring my wife onto the podcast, and I think it would be kind of fun. Again, this isn't something that I thought up myself by any means. I've seen other people do it, but I kind of want to talk about, there's been a lot of videos coming out about 90s kids talking about things they did when they were younger, and so I kind of want to bring my wife on so that both of us can kind of talk about growing up in the 2000s, what it's like to be in kind of that weird pocket between Gen Z and Gen Alpha and millennials all at the same time, where we're kind of just mixed up in all of it. And then of course the second to last one here is that one token healthier habits, resolution that everyone makes going into January 1st, where I really do want to get better about working out, eating healthier. I think that getting the motivation to work out is one of the most difficult things for me, because you have to go out. If it's winter, you have to go into the cold, or you have to get up early, or it's just forcing yourself to do something that, especially at the very beginning, your body is so against doing, is just really, really difficult. And obviously I'm preaching to the choir here. Everyone struggles with this at some point. Going to the gym in general also can be a little bit daunting, because even when you are going to a place like Planet Fitness, they say it's no judgment free, but as someone with anxiety, I feel like I'm always it's like I'm paranoid looking over my back. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head kind of thing. So when I'm there, I'm like, oh shoot, someone's looking at me, so I'm doing this workout wrong or something like that. So that's another thing I have to battle as I go to the gym, is just remembering, to anyone out there with anxiety, I promise you, no one cares as much as you're worried they do. And that's just something I have to remind myself as well. I think for me, it's mostly just keeping myself healthy, in the sense that my heart is healthier. I'm putting myself in a better position to be healthier longer into my life. For me, it's all about longevity, keeping myself safe and healthy, and just kind of give myself more energy in my life. It's not about losing a bunch of weight. It's not about any of that. For me, it's more about just being able to feel good on a daily basis and, keep myself safe from any potential health risks in the future. So that's just kind of a big thing for me. I do have a numerical goal, which is 2 times a week at least. If I don't get that one week, I'll try to make up for it the next week. But again, I'm not going to stop or give up or anything. If I don't get those 2 a week, I'm telling you this to the camera so that people know that I'm serious about this. On top of that, I want to get more sleep as well. I feel like I've done a really bad job of I always convince myself I'm going to be fine the next morning. And then lack of sleep is really probably something that a lot of us deal with, but something that definitely does not affect me very well. So I definitely need to do better with getting consistent with my sleep schedule. That's going to be another reason why I feel like I'll have a lot more energy, and probably will give me more energy to work out. And it's going to be just this nice cycle that if I can keep up with everything, I can get it going. And on top of that, 2 other things I want to do are read more, because when I was little, I would read all the time. I fell off of it probably right around the time I got an iPhone, if I'm being honest. But part of my ADD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it, is I sometimes will struggle to read, because it's just really difficult to focus until I really get focused, and then someone could, hit a gong, that's not a gong, cymbals in my face, and I probably wouldn't even react. But it takes a long time to train my brain to get into the zone to focus on something that I haven't done in a really long time. By the end of the year, I'm hoping that I can be consistently reading again and actually enjoying it. And then finally here, I have one more resolution, just in general, to try things I haven't tried before. The third resolution is more of being more open to things ideologically, conversationally, socially. This is more just a physical sense of I want to be more open to things that I haven't tried before, in terms of I want to read new books, I want to try new foods, because I'm a very picky eater. I want to watch new movies, and that one is going to be very specific to what I'm doing here on the channel, because I'm going to be making a series of videos where it's basically just me watching and reviewing movies that people have been mad at me in the past for not having watched before. I claim to be someone who really appreciates good cinematography, as someone who's a videographer and editor and video producer as a job professionally. I pride myself in appreciating that stuff, and yet there's so many just well-known movies that I've never seen for some reason, and I just never got around to seeing them. And so I kind of have this long list of movies where when someone found out I didn't see it or hadn't watched it before, they freaked out and was, you know, you've been there before where someone's like, oh my gosh, you have not seen this movie, what's wrong with you, kind of thing. Any movie I've ever put on that list, I'm going to be trying to watch it and review it in this new series of videos. That'll be kind of part of my reaction type content. I'm going to be making some reactions to, you know, music videos and that kind of thing, obviously, like I've done in the past. But I also want to do videos reacting to that kind of thing. I know there's things people care a lot about that they just like seeing people experience for the first time. I think there's something really fun about that. So I'm going to be doing that as one of my many types of content I'm going to have here on the channel. But that brings us to the final part of this video, where I'm going to be kind of giving you a teaser of the next 3 videos that I'm going to be coming out with. The first one I'm going to be doing is that long form podcast I'm going to be doing with my wife Gwen. We're going to be talking a little bit about what it was like to grow up in the 2000s. We're going to talk about some songs that turned 20 in 2026. Back in 2006, that's going to be fun. We're going to talk about music and shows and toys and fun games and stuff from that time. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also going to be doing my first watching and reviewing movies that people are mad I haven't seen. And again, it's up in the air which one that's going to be, so I'll let you know pretty soon here what that's going to be. And then finally, the third video I'm going to be doing, which will probably be out beginning of February if I do one a week here, I'm going to be doing kind of one of my sillier random ranking type videos where I'm going to be doing a tier list of the best fast food chains. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. That one's definitely going to come with a lot of disagreements, I'm sure, in the comments, so make sure you watch that one as well. But those will be the next 3 videos that I'm going to be coming out with. Before we finish up here, I want to do something that I'll probably plan on doing pretty much every video, which is, I think a lot of people have been having fun doing these reading Reddit stories type stuff, but I kind of want to just focus on the fun, uplifting ones, either something that's uplifting, heartwarming, just funny, things like that, because I feel like a lot of people can sometimes be drawn to the dramatic ones that are, you know, half of them just end up depressing you. Half of them just end up with people arguing in the comment sections about stupid stuff. And so I figured it would be nice just to have something fun to read at the end of each episode that's kind of more uplifting, something that can kind of distract you, because we're like halfway into the first month of 2026 and half of the world already feels like it's falling apart in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of just really unfortunate stuff happening around the world, and so to be able to just read something nice like this every once in a while is just really nice. So I think I'm gonna just do these fun, uplifting ones on either Reddit or other stories I see throughout the internet, and just talk about some of the good stuff that we need to focus more on. So this one is from r/heartwarming. And the title is "My Neighbor's Simple Act of Kindness Just Saved My Entire Week." It says, "I'm a single parent with 2 kids under 10. This week's been brutal, both kids sick. I'm sick, work is insane, and I've been surviving on crackers and Spite. Yesterday I got home from work to find a container on my doorstep. Inside was homemade soup, fresh bread, and a note that said, 'Heard the little ones weren't feeling well, made extra, no need to return the container. Signed from apartment 4B. I don't even know who lives in 4B. I've probably seen them twice in passing. I sat on my kitchen floor and cried while eating that soup because it was the first hot meal I'd had in 3 days that wasn't reheated takeout. This morning I found another container with cookies and a note that said, 'For the kids, when they feel better, you're doing great, by the way.' I still don't know what they look like, but I'm going to find them and thank them properly when I'm not a walking disaster. Sometimes the smallest gestures hit the hardest when you're barely keeping your head above water." That's one I saw right in the midst of some really messed up stuff going on throughout the world, throughout the Midwest in particular, and it's just kind of important to keep in mind, you know, read stories like this when you're feeling really depressed about the way the world is sometimes. And obviously I'm not saying to replace these things with the bad things. I'm not saying to pretend those bad things aren't happening, because it's really important to be aware of them and to take action in whatever way you can. But if we focus on the bad things all the time, you know, we forget the fact that the world is still a great place, that there's people like this everywhere. And so keep that stuff in mind as you continue your week, whenever it is you're watching this, and just kind of keep on going and know that there's a lot of ways to make things better still. So thanks for watching this one. Again, this is my breakdown of my New Year's resolutions. If you have found a way to maintain your New Year's resolutions over the last few years, congratulations. Also, how? Please teach me your ways. But for the other people like me who have struggled to find ways to get their resolutions done the last few years, we're all in this boat together. We're all trying our hardest to make things happen and to better ourselves. So here's to all of us working hard to try and do that in 2026. But thanks so much for watching this one. And as always, I'll see you on the flip side.